In today's video, you're going to learn about the German verbs wissen and kennen, both of which are translated to English as to know. However, they are used differently, so we'll be discussing not only how they're conjugated, but also when to use which verb. Let's begin with kennen. Kennen is conjugated regularly in the present tense. Ich kenne, du kennst, sie es kennt, wir kennen, ihr kennt, sie und sie kennen. No stem changes, normal endings, everything's perfect. However, kennen is irregular in the past tense. The past tense form for sie es, for instance, would be hat gekannt, with a vowel change in that participle. Now let's talk about how to use this verb. This verb means to know, but it only means to know in the sense of being familiar with something or being acquainted with something. For instance, I could say something like this. Ich kenne den neuen Deutschlehrer nicht. I don't know the new German teacher. I could ask you, kennst du den Schauspieler Moritz bleibt treu? Do you know the actor Moritz bleibt treu? Kennst du das Lied Eisberg? Do you know the song Eisberg? Kennst du den Sänger Herbert Grönemeyer? Do you know of the singer Herbert Grönemeyer? Wie gut kennst du München? How well do you know Munich? Ich kenne die Stadt nicht so gut. I don't know the city so well. Notice a couple things about these. First of all, the things being known here are people, places, songs, and the like. You could also use kennen with movies, poems, restaurants, or other things that you can become familiar with or acquainted with by experiencing them. The things being known here are not information, though. That's what we're going to use wissen for. Before we get to that, though, also notice that the things being known are in the accusative case. That's because they are the direct objects of these sentences. They are being known by the subjects of the sentences. So be sure to use den, die, das, die, or other appropriate accusative case articles or possessive forms with the things being known. Now let's move on to wissen. First of all, unlike kennen, wissen is an irregular verb, both in the present tense and the past tense. In the present tense, the stem is going to change in the singular forms, but it's regular on the plural side, so it's almost like a modal verb. The forms are ich weiß, du weißt, sie es weiß, spelled with an Sz, and then wir wissen, ihr wisst, sie und sie wissen, spelled with two S's. The past participle of this verb is gewusst, and it takes the helping verb haben in the past tense. What makes wissen different from kennen is that wissen is used for facts, information, and knowledge instead of people or places. This means that you will very frequently use wissen along with some kind of conjunction. I know that, I know how, I know where, I know when, I know why, I don't know if, things like that. Let's see how this looks when it's used in German sentences. For instance, we could say something like, Ich weiß nicht, wie ich zum Bahnhof komme. I don't know how I should get to the train station. Weißt du, was die Hauptstadt von Deutschland ist? Do you know what the capital of Germany is? Entschuldigung, wissen Sie, wo die Post ist? Excuse me, do you know where the post office is? Weißt du, was die Hausaufgaben für heute Abend sind? Do you know what the homework for tonight is? Letztes Jahr habe ich nicht gewusst, dass Deutsch so cool ist. Last year I didn't know that German is so cool. First of all, notice in these examples that we're using wissen rather than kennen, because what's being known is information or facts, not something you could have a familiarity with. Secondly, notice that we have the conjunction das in that last sentence, which you'll recall is a subordinating conjunction. It moves the verb in its clause all the way to the end. But we also have some other subordinating conjunctions here, was, wo, and wie. And you might recognize these as question words. As in English, question words in German can be used as conjunctions. So in German, any question word could act as a subordinating conjunction, meaning that it will move the conjugated verb in its clause all the way to the end, as it does in these examples. Let's review what we've discussed about the verbs wissen and kennen. They'll both be translated into English as to know, but that's because English really only has one word for knowing, while German has two. Kennen is the kind of knowing you do when you are familiar or acquainted with someone, someplace, or something, like a song or a poem. Wissen, on the other hand, is the kind of knowing you do with facts and information. With wissen, you'll often use a subordinating conjunction to say what you know, and question words like who, what, when, where, why, or how could act as subordinating conjunctions in German.